Good afternoon. Welcome to the Model A Museum in Hickory Corners at the Gilmore campus. I am honored, absolutely honored, to be sitting with Mr. Les Andrews. Les was inaugurated this morning into our 2020 Hall of Fame. And just to be here is wonderful. As most of you know, one of the things Les is famous for is those fantastic books that we tell you always to buy for your Model A. Les, you wrote this book when?
I started that book in 1996, and it took about 2 years to get through it.
What made you decide to write a book to help us in the hobby?
Well, I wrote it to help myself to begin with.
Oh, okay.
Because as I worked on Model A's, I found that most of the information available came out of articles written in the Restore magazine and in the Model A News. And these are people situated on the East Coast and West Coast. And when you read these articles, you find out that people on the East Coast call a part something different than what they do on the West Coast. So I was trying to bring that information together so that we had one language. And most of the material written back then was paragraph format, not step-by-step procedures, so it was sometimes hard to follow. So I wanted to clarify that for everybody to understand, and in my work experience, I was an engineer, and then I got into doing engineering writing, and I got into publications work, which I really enjoyed. And so it was a natural for me to pick up that information and carry it on into writing a manual. Since I'd had Model A's for years, I wanted to make it clear, and I thought I could do a good job of describing how things worked and how they should work and how they should be repaired. So that's what the motivation to get me started.
And then you followed up with Volume 2 and Volume 3 to assist more in doing some more, should we say, basic improvements to the car. And then, of course, which you can't leave home without, is the troubleshooting and diagnostic.
Right.
One of the must-have books in the hobby. Was this part of the original book, or did you decide to do a complete different publication for it, obviously?
Yes, that was a complete different publication. As I went through the original book, I sit down personally on every subject, every part, and took it apart and put it back together and made my notes. And so it's a hands-on, one-on-one instruction that I was certain that it would be right because I didn't try to copy somebody else's work. I wanted to make sure that it was correct and that it was done in the right sequence. So after I finished, I realized there were a lot of people that were having problems trying to understand how things operated and how they were supposed to be operated properly, and how do you go about troubleshooting. So being in my engineering background helped me in that sense. So what I did is I wrote all of the procedures for troubleshooting are in this book, and I developed all of those troubleshooting procedures to help the person isolate a problem. And in this book, every system within the Model A is described, and you can test every system to find out if it's working properly or to find out if there's something missing.
Phenomenal, phenomenal. And you said one of the interesting things is you've had Model A's for years. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, you got into this hobby in 1954?
No, I'm sorry, it's 1964.
Is when you got into the hobby?
Yes, when I first got my first Model A, and I was in Southern California, and the only clubs I knew about was Mark. Mark had a chapter in Southern California. So I had a friend that had a Model A, so we'd go to those meetings. And it wasn't until 4 years later I found out there was a Mark chapter just 1 mile from my house at the Ford dealership.
Fantastic. So you are a member of both clubs?
I'm a member of both clubs. I've been a member of Mark for 56 years and a member of MAFFI for 52 years.
Unbelievable. Well, I'll tell you, I'm the administrator of Facebook nationally online. The very first thing we tell anybody is to obtain Les Andrews books to learn about your car. And I will tell you, myself and all of our membership has learned a tremendous amount from you. And I'm going to do something on camera that I've been waiting to do for years. I'd like to ask you to sign my book right here, if you wouldn't mind. Something I wanted to do.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have no idea what kind of honor it is to have Mr. Les Andrews here at the museum. This is what we're all about, is the Model A Club, MAFFI Museum, and our two MAFFA and MARC clubs. Thank you for being here. Get Les's book, and maybe you'll be lucky enough to get this also. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being at the Model A Museum. We'll see you next year at Model A Day. Les, it's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've enjoyed it.
Thank you.